Shogun.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Jin Movie So Awesome. I'm Joe.
I'm One Jin.
Today we are going to review Shogun episode 7 till 9. Full spoilers ahead. 9th one was the penultimate episode, and we are going to do some finale predictions as well.
We got one episode left.
Here we go. Let me go first, One Jin.
Okay.
You know, like, I never seen a show that relies so heavily on the Seppuku Tease. Will they do it? Will they kill themselves? Because I thought, like, up to the earlier episodes, they did a great job of presenting the seppukus being done so casually. And by the 7th and 8th and 9th episode, especially after the 8th episode where there was a very dramatic seppuku scene, the 9th one for me was all about, are they going to kill themselves or not? And I like the writing because they keep us occupied. They never let us go off the chain about how horrifying that action actually is. And, you know, while we understand, about 9 episodes in, we do sympathize with the Japanese character, their cultural view on death and all that. But I thought the show, without big action scenes, did a great job of keeping us on our toes, of political machinations, and the seppuku keeping us engaged throughout.
Now, I like how... Well, let's first talk about episode 9. I think how it focused on, heavily on Mariko. I mean, the moment they started focusing very heavily on Mariko, I kind of knew that she was going to die. And throughout the show, we could tell that she actually sought death, but she didn't, like, her circumstances did not allow it. But in this episode, I could see that she finally found her purpose. And in a way, it's a tragedy, but I also think it's in a very strange way. It's also like a triumph for Mariko. So I thought it was a very intense episode.
Yeah, for people who don't know, that's a very Japanese theme where Japanese like to call it a beautiful failure. And that's a theme that was hinted at before, because and I think they talk about it directly even in episode 8. And Mariko is basically an embodiment of that theme, where, you know, because she didn't win anything, she gave up her life, and that giving her a meaning is a very Japanese theme, and they brought it to life surprisingly well for me, where, you know, it's not something, I think even for Western audiences, it wasn't weird by the end, because we know why she decided to jump on the door, because the Shinobi ninjas were there to kidnap her, because they can't kill her, but they can't let her go. So the compromise of Ishido hiring those ninjas was to kidnap her and prevent her from leaving.
Yeah.
And her, knowing that that's their political plan, decided to kill herself.
Yeah, and basically that's foiling Ishido's plan.
And basically giving, in Korea it's called 명분.
She's giving justification.
Exactly, like for Toranaga's rebellion that is going to happen. And what the show did well for me was how they tied in the political machination, just like Game of Thrones did in the first 4 seasons. Because in Game of Thrones, we know that the characters have individual desire. And here we get that too. Except their individual desire and the greater outer world full of politics meet. That's when the climaxes happen.
Yeah.
And the ending was great. The episode 9 was that, you know, this show does a great job, just like Game of Thrones, where I feel multiple emotions. When she decides to off herself, I feel sad, but yet happy for her.
Yeah.
And I have this in Korea. It's called hinoerak. Different emotions: sadness, happiness,
the bitterness, everything. Yeah.
And the 9th episode for me put the dirty level up to 11, because Yabushige, like, I'm gonna guess it, you're gonna die, motherfucker, aren't you? I think they showed him as such a piece of shit here. I mean, I still like him. He's a charming piece of shit.
Yeah, in this, like, really rascal kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But his death, this is my guess, one, because you saw the original show, so you can say whether I'm right or wrong. His death is going to be the opposite of episode 8's seppuku, which is complete nobility.
Yeah.
Son, trust in our Lord. It's okay.
Even if he doesn't trust himself, you
Yeah.
have to believe in him.
No, but
Even in the last moment.
Yeah, but Yabu's gonna go. And like, see, this ninth episode is already sad for me because in the 10th episode, because now that I know that if the story wants to not give a shit about history, they're not gonna give a shit. I think Buntaro might die too. He's gonna be the sad character that never got love from his wife, saw his wife die, but he has to avenge it. He's full of fury. He chopped up his father's dead, and then is that gonna play a big part in like a Sekigahara battle that's gonna happen? So I like how even Blackthorn is gonna have multiple different emotions, and it's like this like emotional overload.
What I also loved about the 9th episode is the intensity of love between Blackthorn and Mariko. And I also love how subtle it is. It is unspoken, but the actors do everything with their eyes. Even like in the moment where he needs to like, he has not no choice, but he volunteers to second her so she doesn't burn eternally in hell. And I think he just doesn't want her to go through the agony of imagining in such a dire moment. And I think that was the first climactic moment in the show, like that moment before she committed the seppuku, the suicide. And in a very strange way, he had to kill her because he loves her. I thought that was very, very, very
I knew you said
weird
Mariko was
position
supposed to die,
to be
but I
in.
didn't imagine she would go that way. Because Wanjin, I'm glad that you brought that up. Because remember the 8th episode. Because one of the things that show does well is because of the 8th episode already presented Buntaro killing his father. For us, we are on our seats because we know that this is not something that's impossible. This can happen. But the show did such a great job for me because, like, even though, like, spoilers ahead, I knew Mariko was gonna die. I think
Kayla Marie, what's up?
What's up, Kayla Marie? Big shout out to Kayla Marie for leaving a reply to our previous video. Thank you so much. You probably attracted our 36 subscriber. Thank you. No, but the show did such a great job of, just like Better Call Saul. While we know the ending, they still gave us enough surprise to make me think, at least, maybe that's not going to happen in the show. Because before the Shinobi Ninja came in, I did think that, like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe they're going to rewrite this where Mariko survives. But when it happens, it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like D&D where we're trying to surprise you, where even the surprise makes sense, but they keep us on our seats.
Yeah.
And that was really well done.
And, you know, based on what I remember from the original show, like a lot of the stuff that is happening in this is new. Because I remember in the original 1980s Shogun, the TV show, you know, the Portuguese and the Jesuits, they play much more important role in this conflict. And it's like basically Blackthorn versus the Portuguese. And Toranaga is kind of like playing in between. He's finding ways to maneuver so that it benefits him towards the end. He's finding ways to use Blackthorn to have leverage over all this.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So basically, we don't get this like Machiavellian, this like political intrigue among the Japanese in the original show.
That's interesting because I would say that's bullshit. That's bullshit, and this is actually more historically accurate. Like, okay, I want to be very clear. This is historically faithful. It's not accurate at all. It's all bullshit. Like, this is like a lot of bullshit. But what you just described is overselling the Portuguese and the Protestants, because I'm sure that's more interesting to the Western audience and they relate to. But this is actually closer to what happened in real life.
In the original show, the Portuguese and the Jesuits, they're very, very intimidated by the ship Erasmus because it can outsail them. It has more firepower. And Blackthorn, he's kind of hell-bent on destroying that black ship. And destroying that ship and basically disrupting their trade.
No, but Wanjin, don't you think then? I think they are going to follow that. But I think one thing that surprised me about this series is, because I thought the Battle of Sekigahara was going to happen in episode 9, but
no,
let me finish. So for me, like, I feel like what you talked about, the Erasmus, is going to come to play in the last episode. It's going to be like episode 9 of Game of Thrones, where I think we're going to see like that black... like I think it's going to happen like this one, Jin. The Battle of Sekigahara is going to happen in the land, and my bet is that Blackthorn is going to go crazy. I lost my love. Fuck you, Toranaga. You piece of shit. And he's going to start... like, it's going to be like a Gobuk-san turtle ship where he's just
like
going to...
suicidal.
Yeah. Because I think the last episode is going to be like an hour and 30 minutes long. Because I don't know about you, but I felt like they have to wrap that up. Even though I do know the ending. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about anything discussion on the next video?
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
We'll
Skywalker.
We'll
Don't
hold
worry.
a Let's Talk session after this one. Oh, but for guys, I want to explain something. Because there has been so many seppukus in 789, I want to explain to you what seppuku is from. Like the Japanese didn't start killing themselves like the stomach like for a long time, but the reason why they stabbed the stomach is because a lot of Japanese folklore believe that the part of the soul were in your stomach or your anus.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but like the moment you said anus, I'm like, okay, so they're gonna rip their ass apart now?
No. Anus is where your soul was, but the stomach doesn't represent. It represents in Korea 진심. So
your like genuine intention.
Exactly. So by opening up your stomach, you are to the other party who was watching showing your honesty. So that's the symbolism of the stomach cutting. It's not for the pain. I think it was kind of this long-held folklore belief that each body part had a part of your soul, and it's kind of like a mix of medieval. You know how medieval alchemy also fucks with that, where you're made out of fire
elements.
Exactly. So it's like that. That's why they're doing it. They're not really doing it for the extension of pain thing. The stomach was representative of your 진심, your honesty. 진심 is Korean, by the way, but I think that's the same word that the Japanese use.
Yeah.
Because I'm using that because it doesn't quite take the character of it's kind of like a mix of soul and honesty. So that's why they're doing it. So that was funny.
Yeah. And I mean, I know what happens in the last episode of the original show.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of wondering where this is gonna go, because it's already kind of digressed
a lot
from the original
80s
plot line. Yeah. I mean, the 80s show, it's basically Blackthorn climbing up the ladder. And he, remember after he saves
Oh, big shout out to Ansanobu.
Oh, what's
what do you think Yabushige face is gonna be? Are you sure you want to know? Because I'm 99% sure.
Yeah, that guy's gonna go. And this is very Asian thing. I'm not sure if we should say Asian, but even in South Korea, we have this great like a figure in our history named Admiral Lee Sun-shin, and he very famously said, "If you seek death, you shall live, and if you seek to live, you will definitely die." And this is the case for Yabushige, in my opinion.
I actually disagree. Like, I'm glad you point that up. That's actually a good way to interpret it. That's your interpretation. But for me, you remember like what I said about the last podcast where there will be no low Toranaga won't stoop to. This is what's gonna happen. Yabushige has played his role as a useful dog that Toranaga used. But once the Battle of Sekigahara is over, if I'm Yabushige, I'm not going to keep a dog who's not loyal to his master.
I mean, if you're Toranaga.
Yeah, Toranaga. Yeah. So that was interesting that you interpret that, because I didn't interpret that way. I'm just saying, yeah, Toranaga is enjoying Yabushige, because you remember how, like, triple cross is good. Like, you know how, like, in spy movies, let's say I'm the CIA director, I keep the mole that I know is a mole intentionally because I can also glean information from him. So for Toranaga, I think Toranaga always knew that he was untrustworthy, right?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because in this new show, in the 2024 Shogun, they don't really explicitly tell you, but in the 1980s Shogun, remember when Toranaga escapes the Osaka Castle by hiding in the what's it called?
The carriage?
Yeah, the carriage, and then he arrives at the fishing village of what was the name? Anjiro, the fishing village, where Yabushige is the lord.
Yeah.
There's a moment where his samurais chant Yabushige's name, Lord Yabushige, Lord Yabushige, and then Toranaga comes up, and then he addresses the samurais of Anjiro, and then they start chanting Lord Toranaga's name, and you can kind of tell in the new show, it's very subtle. You see like I think the show kind of closes up on the faces of Lord Toranaga and the samurais and also Yabushige, but in the old show, there's a narration when that happens, and
it's more explicit about what's going on.
The narration tells you that once, like as soon as the samurai started chanting Lord Toranaga's name, Yabushige's pride was basically crushed.
Okay.
And it was all intentional because Lord Toranaga always knew that he was going to be treacherous. So after that, after he basically like kicks him down, he raises him up again by giving him his like 15-year-old sword. And that's in the original show. And Lord Toranaga already knows that this guy cannot be trusted, so he's playing with him.
No, but I want to answer. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna answer your question directly now. Me knowing Toranaga from this show, he's gonna order him to seppuku now because he just gave. Because Toranaga, you have to remember, in this world, Myeongbun is very important. You need to have a valid public reason for someone to be killed. But Yabushige's betrayal, the last betrayal, it's not like his prior betrayal. In this betrayal, there were actions and consequences, which led to Mariko's death, Torunaga's quote-unquote favorite vassal. So, if I'm Toranaga, I've been waiting to kill this motherfucker, but now that, like, because I'm gonna defeat Yashiro, right? I'm gonna order you the seppuku. It's either that or I'm gonna order Yabushige's nephew to kill him. That's another option because I know they were vying for power, but you have to remember that Toranaga he was willing to sacrifice his friend and most loyal vassal for 30 years, and his son, Yabushige ain't shit.
That's right.
Like, now that I'm done with you, I'm not going to keep a dog that is that disloyal. No, but he was useful because I think Toranaga used Yabushige. Wonjin, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. My guess is that in this show, at least, he kept Yabushige to motivate Blackthorne to anger. So that Blackthorne is going to go berserk in the 10th one. And then he's going to use that berserk to do that black ship on Osaka or whatever. Because I think he knew Toranaga is very great at playing his opponents against each other. And Yabushige was just useful to motivate the white man again. Because he already knew that the white man was unhappy. But I think Yabushige is going to kill himself. And before... I want to give a big shout out to Yabushige, but I will say this for him. He's going to take his death like a nobly. He's going to accept it, I think. Because we already seen him willing to kill himself, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So this is the thing. He's going to die like Lady Marjorie from Game of Thrones. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Is it painless?
Yeah. Remember? Yeah. Because he lost the Game of Thrones. So Toranaga is going to say, accept your death.
Joffrey.
Yeah, accept death. And the Yabushige is going to die. And all his conniving is going to come to an end.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the end of the road for Yabushige, based on what I know from the original show. And regarding, like, Blackthorne, I think it's going to be very different from your projection. Because if it's okay for me to tell you, do you want me to tell you what happens in the original show?
No, it's okay because I already know the ending, though. Oh, and the reason why me and Wonjin, we know the ending is because, like we said, this is based on history.
Yeah, that's right.
So the victor is already decided.
Yeah, Tokugawa Ieyasu, he becomes victorious in the Battle of Sekigahara.
Yeah, he's Toranaga. Yeah.
And then later on, for like the next 268 years or something, his family's gonna rule Japan. But, anyways, what happens in the original show is the Erasmus, the ship, it burns down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it burns down.
It
burns down. So, Lord Toranaga and Blackthorne, they commission a new ship. And so the original ship doesn't really do much.
Oh, then, hey, you should have told me that now. Fuck you. Okay, I know what's going to happen now. That same thing is going to happen in episode 10, okay? Okay, this is my guess. Tell me if I'm wrong. Blackthorn is gonna go crazy, and he's gonna say, Toranaga, go fuck yourself, and he's gonna sleep, and I'm gonna get on the Erasmus the next day and fuck it up. Oh, but when he wakes up, it's burned. And guess what, motherfucker? It's Toranaga who burned that shit, isn't it?
You're right.
Fuck you, man! I knew it!
But in the original show, it's because the Portuguese weren't really basically an enemy of Japan.
No, but let me explain my logic before you do that. Because for Toranaga, it makes perfect sense, too. It's just like Yabushige was done with the useless. The dynamics of Portuguese and Blackthorn doesn't interest Toranaga.
That's right.
Like, as long as they're not if you can nullify them completely for Toranaga, there's no reason for him not to do it. So why leave a dangerous weapon like that?
So he had to basically keep Blackthorn's aggression under control.
Okay.
Yeah. And in the original show, like I said, it was basically Blackthorn climbing the ladder. So remember I mentioned him saving Lord Toranaga's life?
Yeah.
When he was getting out of the castle, you know how Lord Ishido's men were trying to check the carriage, but because of Blackthorn, his
resourcefulness.
Yeah, he proves to be quite resourceful, so they get out of that. And the second one is when he saves him from that earthquake. And in the original show, he is basically like knighted. He becomes a samurai. Lord Toranaga makes him a samurai with like 200 samurais under him.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and Blackthorn, he's kind of happy about it that he's moving
That's
up.
different.
But what's different in this new show is that it's very obscure because it looks like he continuously wants to leave. He doesn't seem happy about like being like received all these gifts and this new home and the fief and everything. But in the original show, he's happy about climbing up, and he eventually becomes a samurai of Lord Toranaga.
Oh, I love your hair, Jin. Scott Walker. Yeah, he likes your Kim Jong-un hairstyle.
The Kim Jong-un hairstyle, the great leader.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad your Red loves nachos, too. Okay, that's what happens, huh?
Yeah.
No, but for me, like, my guess is that, Blackthorn, you ain't never leaving, first of all. Because you're still useful. Like, because once Toranaga wins the battle of Sekigahara and defeats Ishido, I think what's going to happen is he's going to name Blackthorn some kind of admiral. And then he's going to get married to Fuji, and they're going to have birth to Blue-Eyed Samurai 2.0. Half white, half Japanese. And then that's going to be a new anime me and Wonjin's going to watch. No, but my guess is, I'm glad you brought that up because I think we already talked about this in like 3 podcasts prior. Like Blackthorn I don't think he's gonna die. He's not leaving. He's gonna be, because one thing I respect about this show is also about that Buddhist theme of destiny and karma. Because the sense I get from this show is that Toranaga doesn't want to be shogun, and that's not really a lie.
In the original show, it's the opposite. He actually wants to persuade the emperor to make him shogun.
Okay.
So it's different.
That's different because in this show, they present it in a very ambiguous way. While he does things to win, at least when he talks to his close associates. And because one of the great thing about this show, I haven't watched the 80s one, but we never get into the mind of Toranaga. Because the other characters, there are like moments where even Buntaro, we get to see the human side of him.
Yeah,
he's this great warrior.
When he becomes vulnerable.
Yeah, he's not happy with his wife. He loves her, but he doesn't want to give them death. Even Blackthorn is he's very unhappy. But one of the great thing, the only time I think we get. Only the 2 times that we got to see Toranaga the human being is when the earthquake happened, and then he laughs at Blackthorn. He's like, his laughter was kind of this Taoist monk who says, I wish I died, but I can't die. Oh, fuck it. I want to die.
All I do was win, baby.
Yeah, this cute-ass white dog that I picked up. Save me. Oh, shit, I wish I died. And another moment is when he visits the temple, and then he says, thank you, son. Thank you, my loyal vassal. You have bought me valuable time. Also, we get to see the unmasked Toranaga, where he is thinking about Machiavellian motivations, but he's also
mourning for the loss of his son.
Yeah, and he's also this kind of this Buddhist monk of desire isn't really important. You know how like Buddhist is like to want and not want.
Yeah.
This mix of towers. He's like that. And I get this sense that in the ending, that's gonna take a huge part too.
Yeah.
He's gonna tell Ishido, bitch ass, you peasant. He's not gonna say, you peasant bitch, how dare you fucking fuck with a samurai family. He's gonna say, poor boy. It was not your will to win this throne. It was mine.
I love the moment in the 9th episode where Mariko basically tells Ishido that my family comes from like 1,000 years of family samurai, and she will not be confined or be kept under her will. I mean, against her will. Basically, she's saying that by a peasant like you.
Oh yeah, that line was very important.
I basically saw this like aura behind her, where her like her background of coming from that like a prestigious family kind of like outshines Ishido in that moment.
Yeah, that was a very interesting scene because it was there to remind us of Ishido's position. But
I also love how they depict how like decorum is really important in Japanese politics and also in their culture. I mean, basically, there's so much that is unspoken.
Oh, it's funny how Joe's hair gives me Caesar vibes, and Jin looks like an NK spy. Two great leaders.
North Korean spy.
No, but ZZ, Caesar was bald. So,
oh, was he?
Yeah, if you're talking about the Roman leader Julius Caesar, that's the Latin way to say his name. Caesar was bald, and he was made fun of that. So, thank you so much.
That's so cruel. You don't make fun of bald people.
Even back then, baldness.
Like the line.
Even back then, baldness was looked down upon.
No.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, but anyway, we're nerding out a lot. Let's see.
What was worth mentioning from the previous episode, like 7 and 8? Do you remember? Oh, like Lord Toranaga's son's death, like slipping on that rock and bashing his head in. Yeah, and his half brother. They were also some interesting characters.
Yeah. No, that the great line from that was how they show us Toranaga as a kid and waiting to second the enemy that he had defeated. And one of my great line is the vassal telling him, well, you took 9 strokes to kill him. And it does basically what the Game of Thrones did. Remember how Jaime Lannister, during his bath, tells
Brienne
what actually happened during the fall of King's Landing.
The Mad King.
Yeah, so
burn them all, he said.
Yeah, so this show, like that, also does a great job of putting nuances and context to what we think is truth and, all that. And the interplay. Oh, also interesting that Ishido liked Mariko's poem and didn't grasp the meaning, even though Yabushige later commented on how dark it was. Shows difference between hereditary nobility and peasant background.
That's a really good point. He doesn't understand it because he didn't grow up with it.
No, and add to that, it also plays well with the mannerism of the Japanese nobility. How you're supposed to accept things. And I thought Nobunaga's daughter's acting was also great too. Because
Nobunaga? Oh, you mean what's her name? Lady Ochiba.
Yeah, Lady Ochiba is based on Nobunaga's daughter. And her conversation using Blackthorne as a translator. Oh, by the way, I feel bad for Blackthorne because his power level keeps going down every episode.
I love how Mariko reminded him, "You're just a ruse."
Yeah, you are a bitch. Like
she doesn't want to see you.
No, you were a Hinamoto in episode 4 or 5, and then that later on you were just like, outright bitch. Okay, stand there, you fucking white dog. Racist shit. Shut the fuck up. Let me talk to my lady friend. And have you guys seen the TV show called Rome? Of course we have. Me and Wanjin, we love that show. Yeah. No, but sound of like, I'm glad you mentioned that because the interplay. Because what surprised me for episode 7, 8, and 9 was how much the political machination goes overload. Like, because even during episode 8 Seppuku
of what's his name?
Yeah, the loyal guy.
Yeah, the old guy. I forgot his name.
Look, because Toranaga's acting is so like that scene is premium acting. Because Yabushige's nephew, we seen him as a very ambitious young man, but here, like his panic and says, Lord Toranaga, this is madness. Like, we see all everybody's different calculating heads in there. Yabushige is the calmest one. He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Yeah. Fuck this. And like the nephew is because despite his like human ambition and how he treated Blackthorne, I felt like that part showed his genuine concern.
Genuine concern.
Yeah,
right.
he's saying like, no, sir, this is wrong.
This is going too far.
This is going too far, sir. And even the loyalists shouting. And Toranaga making them sign the paper that he doesn't need to. It's all bullshit. But like him testing the loyal subjects, that was incredible acting. That like, because episode 8, I did feel like, where the fuck is this going? Because as someone, me and Wonjin, we know the ending. Like that one was like a lot of fiction, by the way. But that was the best use of seppuku as like a storyline device if I ever seen one. Because the actor did a great job too. The one who does the seppuku. Yeah. Because of the prior episode set up how close they are. They're so close that the Vassal can joke that I should have turned to Ishido. Should have fucking betrayed you. Like they're so cool. Like, and then when he does seppuku, the way he looks at Lord Toranaga, it's one of love, giving up, and like the best acting was when he said, "This is farewell, my lord," and then he bows, and that's when I knew that okay, this is really gonna happen. What the?
He's not fucking around.
Yeah, this is not fuck around at all. And so, I thought that was one of the best scenes of acting that I haven't seen in a while.
And I think it also depicts the Japanese culture at the time really well, especially among samurais, because you know, based on like the books I read about Japanese samurais, they would basically kill themselves in honor to prevent their lies from being revealed.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to prove that you're not lying, even though you lie, you will kill yourself.
Yeah, it's sort of this checkmate move.
Yeah,
where like if you are in danger, you will do seppuku to protect not yourself but your clan. Because I'm glad that in episode 8 and 7, Toranaga's line is our clan first or Japan. That's probably fiction, by the way, because the concept of Japan is the concept of how the samurais viewed their Japanese world was made during the seppuku period.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like...
Yeah, you mean Sengoku period.
Yeah.
Sengoku.
You know how, like, we take for granted countries and nations, but that's not how they viewed it. But I did like the detail where is our clan first, and that word is key. The Japanese mindset is the clan as a polity was more... It's not a bloodline-based thing, it's a polity. It's an organization based on a name. And that was very interesting how they keep mentioning those Japanese cultures correctly.
I love how like each episode towards the end, they all have very like super intense moments at the end of the episode. Like I think episode 7 was when Toranaga's son Naka died. And
that's not true, by the way. That's made up bullshit. You know?
And 8 ends with seppuku of his most loyal servant.
That's also bullshit, by the way. I'm sorry.
And then episode 9 ends with the death of Mariko.
Yeah, that's actually true.
In a super dramatic way.
Yeah.
And even in the original show, she dies from like a gunpowder explosion in the Osaka Castle, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's quite similar to the original show.
One thing, now that you mentioned that, I do respect how they presented the Shinobi ninjas. Because, I mean, ninjas were real, but they're not the ninja you see on animes and stuff.
Yeah, like doing magic and stuff.
Yeah. But the Shinobi ninja depiction was actually very authentic. Like, it's like how we view the Roman legion. You remember how in Gladiator we always imagined them with the red chicken thing and the shield? That's bullshit. That happened like 300 years after that. It was built. But here the Shinobi ninjas are dressed very plainly, very practical. So that's actually very historically accurate.
And I think we've also seen depictions of Shinobis in movies like The Last Samurai, which I thought was also quite authentic. It doesn't have like any of the like crazy like magic stuff, but they're basically assassins, and they're optimized for their purpose.
Yeah. So Batman Begins ninjas are bullshit. This Shinobi is real.
What are they called? The League of Shadows?
Yeah. So that depiction surprised me. Big shout out to Blackthorne. He's like John Wick with that motherfucker.
Oh, that's right.
Like, the action scene was with surprisingly good.
Yeah, I felt sorry for the guy who got shot in the face.
Not just that, but like this show did such a like it taking so long to recharge actually added to the thrill.
Yeah, and you could tell that he had balls of steel in that moment. He's just casually reloading while people are getting slashed.
Yeah, yo, gun fu, man. Like I almost expect him to.
What's it called? Gun kata from
the only thing
Equilibrium.
The only scene I wish he did was he was reloading and there's a shinobi, right? You just get the gun and no smashes him and continue to rearm and blow his head off.
You can tell that he's been through such situations.
Yeah, no, I wanted the scenes where, because the reloading takes time, he would just smash them in the face with it, and then boom. But the action was great.
Yeah.
And they continue to use the Japanese, like, the paper doors really well.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
the thrill and the action was amazing.
I also love the moment when the shinobis come in waves. It reminded me, for some strange reason, a lot about Better Call Saul when Nacho betrayed, what's his name? Lalo.
Yeah.
And then these mercenaries, they stormed Lalo's compound. It reminded me a lot of that, but in like the 16th century Japanese version.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That was intense.
Oh, but guys, anyway, we're almost at the finish line.
Yeah.
I can't.
One more week. Next week, we're going to see the end of this whole thing. So I wonder how much this is going to divert from the original show.
You know what? This made me wish there was a Shogun season 2 that is kind of a prequel. You know, because what surprised me was how much like authentic Japanese record they used to make the show. Like I said, this is historically faithful. It's not historically accurate, but I don't know if FX is such a, because there are a lot of like Japanese novels that they can use, just like they use the Shogun novel.
Yeah.
So if there is a Shogun season 2, The Rise of Taiko might be a really great one.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But, I mean, would this be a spoiler to tell you what happens in...
Wait.
Do you know any good movies, TV series about Imjin War, Korean or Japanese?
No, before Wonjin you talk, I want to talk about that.
Okay.
It depends on which country made it. You will get a completely different experience. There's a lot of Imjin War movies.
Yeah.
But, hey... Have you read the book Imjin War by I forgot, like, if you're not looking for a movie but the most objective Imjin War record ever, there's this English book that was published, it's literally called Imjin War, and there's a lot of used copies. Let me search for that.
But while he's searching for that, let me tell you that so far from all the Imjin War related movies and TV shows, none of them really quite like satisfied me. And compared to today's standards of all these like cinematic shows of like history, I don't think these I mean, we do have TV shows that centers around Admiral Shin, who's the war hero of the Imjin War. But it's very different from what we're used to these days on Netflix and all these things. I mean, it consists of like 70 or 80, like 100 episodes or something.
Yeah.
And budget-wise, it wasn't really invested heavily as the shows we see these days. There are also movies that also centers around Admiral Shin, but it only centers around like single battle.
Oh, Scott Walker, thank you. Now you guys are warm to my top five favorite YouTuber. Thank you. So here's the book. The Imjin War, Japan's 16th century invasion of Korea and an attempt to conquer China by Samuel Hawley. Samuel Haley or Hawley. That's a Hawley with a Hawley. It's not very comprehensive. I mean, it's comprehensive as it could get, but it's a book that really conveys both the Japanese, Korean, and China's perspective. There's a paper book edition that was published, I think, here 2014, and it's a great book if you haven't read it already, because if you look at just the Japanese or Korean and Chinese source, the problem is you get a lot of biased perspective. But that book is being written in English, by the way, by a Canadian author. It tries to blend the Korean and Chinese and Japanese sources as much as it can with great background information.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super extensive because Imjin War, that was a long war.
Yeah.
that also involved a lot of different parties, and also there were so many different battles that was and some very decisive.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to cover like the overall war in like few seasons of TV shows.
And Imjin War literally means Imjin is the year.
Yeah, the year 1592.
Yeah. 92 to 98 is like I think the first invasion, I guess.
97, and then we have Cheongyu War,
Right.
from 97 to 99, I think.
Yeah, but the Korean version, the problem with the Korean version is I don't know if it's a problem, but I'm trying to be objective, Wonjin. So, like, it's very centered around Lee Sun-shin's heroics.
Yeah.
Because of the 1900s Japanese colonization of us. The Imjin War is kind of our reference point of where we defeated these
invaders.
Yeah, subhumans that try to colonize us, quote unquote. And for the Japanese, they always consider themselves level to China, basically. So it's a different perspective. For China, it's also another different. For them, it's like the Ming Dynasty showing loyalty to our fellow Joseon Dynasty. So it's a very complicated affair.
Yeah. How popular is karate in Korea? It's not very popular because we have taekwondo. So we have like millions of people learning taekwondo, while I think only a handful of people learn karate. We do have karate dojos in South Korea, but it's not as popular as taekwondo.
And about the Imjin War period, to answer your question further, you know how in Shogun the Imjin War was mentioned?
Yeah,
like
they
in
talk
passing.
about the Koreans in Joseon.
But for the Japanese, their internal road to unification is also a bigger theme for them too.
Yeah.
For them, Imjin War, I mean, it was an interesting episode. And a lot of the Japanese writers and generals, they praise Lee Sun-shin especially because they lost that war.
And they also respect greater warriors.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Lee Sun-shin was a warrior for them.
Yeah.
The the king ran away.
No, but if I'm being cynical, part of that is because they have to explain that they lost.
Yeah.
Lee Sun-shin has to look awesome.
And you have to remember, like, the forces that invaded Joseon at the time from Japan, they were basically, like, all stars after, like, a century of war. They're all these seasoned veterans after, like, the century of war that took place in Japan. So all these different factions that fought each other, these legendary warriors, so-called, they invaded South Korea. I mean, not South Korea, but Joseon. But they also need to explain the defeat that they experienced. And in a sense, they also need to basically package Lee Sun-shin in a way.
Hey guys, you know what though? Let's cut it here because I'm glad you keep asking us those questions. Kayla Marie and Zanom, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Hey, we're gonna take a 3-minute break where we will
be back to talk about this in our Let's Talk episode.
We'll have a Let's Talk session where we will just exclusively spend time talking to you guys and answering your questions.
Yeah. But Shogun, it's been a banger so far.
Yeah.
So we have one episode left, and do you want me to spoil what happens?
So
in the original show?
No, but you can't spoil me because I already know what's gonna happen.
But we know that after the Battle of Sekigahara, he becomes the Shogun. But the show Shogun, it doesn't show you the Battle of Sekigahara.
Oh.
Yeah, in the original one.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't show you. It just basically give you like a narration of what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think the show might be different though because of the budget. I think they've been saving up for it.
Yeah.
But hey guys, I want to give episode 7, 8 to 9 a 9.5.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
For me, I have this great feeling that the ending won't disappoint me because but so far my opinion of the show has only increased because I love the creative use of actual local Japanese culture in a Hollywood manner that for some reason doesn't offend like the Japanese sentiment. I think I'm not Japanese, I'm Korean, so I don't know how they feel, but I feel like they won't be that offended. Like the Japanese amazingness is up here.
Yeah.
And Blackthorne as a white person is down here. So I give it a 9.
Racist.
Yeah, very racist. I've reversed racism. But anyway, guys, that's our take. I think me and Wonjin, we agree that we give it a 9 or 9.5.
I would also give it a 9. And I especially love the attention Mariko got in episode 9 because I don't think she got enough attention in the original show. I mean, yes, it did center a lot around Mariko, but not like this. It showed her moment of like this clarity, her purpose, her courage, especially when she was fighting the gate guards. That was pretty awesome.
Why didn't they just arrow him?
Oh no, because she was not to be harmed.
I'm just kidding. I know why. But I thought one of December, can we just go for the feet? This is getting out of control. But anyway, guys, we will talk about this next week once the season is done. This has been Jojin Movie So Awesome. We'll be back in 3 minutes, guys, to talk about anything and everything. Big shout out to Scott Walker. Big shout out to Kayla Marie. Big shout out to
ZZ. Wichan Hong.
How do you answer that?
And I don't know how to read Cyrillic.
And Mazanom. Thank you so much. This has been Joe.
This has been One Jin.
We'll be back in 3 minutes, guys. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye.
Bro, fuck yeah. I almost wish Mariko did a helicopter on those guys. And then
just like in the Blue Eyes
tell the
Samurai.
great lords to come down from the walls. Fuck you, cowards.
Look, I'm like, what's up now, bitches?
No, what are your cameras on?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
What's up now?
Yeah. Helicopter style, baby. And jump up the sky.
It'd be hilarious if she killed all the gate guards.
Yeah.
And then, like the next wave, they kind of get shocked.
Sandwiched.
And then they get butchered.
Yeah. Welcome to caste systems.
Hilarious. And she's like, I get you in the house, bitches. This is how we roll.
And Nobunaga returns as Oni.